Welcome everybody to this third episode of this BI4ALL talks.
Hey everyone.
After talking about cloud solutions, DevOps implementations, and different approaches, we wanted to bring to this third episode Nearshore delivery model that we've been doing for around 10 years, and now it's more relevant than ever. So before moving to one quick topic, we have a Q&A section that feel free to use to post questions, and we'll try to go through them towards the end of the episode. Quick intros. I'm Luís Lajinha, International Delivery Director, responsible for international customers outside of our home country in Portugal, and expansion also internationally. With me I have Francisco and Ricardo. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
So moving on to the topic that brought us here, and before even talking about Nearshore, I wanted to quickly talk about why would companies need to outsource instead of direct hiring. Well, it's important for several reasons. I'll mention some. The time that it saves in hiring and in training that companies do not need to do when using an external partner, it's crucial. The level and that obviously reduces risk of bringing people to the company, and the level of specialization that it needs to a specific project, that when it's not the core of that company to do that kind of projects, and so it doesn't have, the company doesn't have that specialization, doesn't know how to accomplish that. And those are just some reasons, not all of them, obviously. Having said that, I would I would suggest that we talk about next on the different delivery models or ways to outsource that companies have, just to start our conversation.
Exactly. So first of all, thanks Lajinha for the invite, and welcome everybody at home. So in fact there are three main delivery models. In BI4ALL we'll deliver two of them. We have onshore, we have offshore and nearshore. BI4ALL delivers onshore and nearshore solutions. Mm-hmm. There are differences between those three, mostly because of time and costs. We also have the collaboration method between the teams that are different, and also the communication can vary. And in fact, this because of the different regions and time zones that they can have. Basically, the onshore delivery model is when a company hires a service with a partner that is located in their home country, okay? And the main advantage of this delivery model is basically because the team is located in the same country, so it's much easier to coordinate and to communicate. The language barrier doesn't exist, and they don't have different time zones, so it's much easier also to interact with the project. The offshore outsourcing is something that we don't deliver, but it's important to mention because it's quite used nowadays. And basically when a company hires an offshore delivery model, they are acquiring a service to a partner that is located in a completely different time zone and in a different country in the globe, like India, China or Mexico. And the main advantage of this delivery model basically is the lower rate price they practice compared with others, so they can easily escalate also. And but there are some drawbacks that are important to mention. One of them is the difficult communication because countries like these, they don't speak English as fluent as other countries.
Yeah.
And also because of the different time zones, so we need to adapt our way of working in order to have the, let's say, good periods of time that we can interact with the people, and it's also difficult.
More
Asynchronous, exactly. And in the end, knowing that this will reduce costs, we can have misunderstandings. The business process can be much more stressed in the end, so it can, in the end, increase. So we need to make a trade-off when acquiring this type of services. And last but not least, Nearshore. That's why we are here. So basically, when a company decides to hire a Nearshore service, they are deciding to have a partner in a nearby country. Basically, the Nearshore is mostly likely offshore. So we are working remotely to a different company, but in a similar time zone and in a more proximity way. Okay. Basically, the main advantage of this delivery model is that this communication is much easier compared with the offshore. And of course, if we need to do some travel arrangements, or if we need to meet the customer on site, it's much easier, and we can do it
faster,
and we can do it frequently. So comparing
even because of visas, and it's a lot easier that you don't need to have visas.
We are in the Schengen area.
Exactly. In our case,
exactly.
And also in our case, like the topic that you were bringing the synchronicity, it's really key in projects that we work in around data, because it is really key to have a close relationship with the business stakeholders.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I would even add not only that, but the fact that the scope and technology, it changes a lot more today than it did 2 or 3 years ago. So it's really, really key that we keep that close connection with customers. Being on the same time zone, more or less, that is really helpful. I think that's one of our key points.
Exactly. And if we compare this with an onshore delivery model, I believe we can save money on that, and keeping the high quality service in the end. So another topic that is important to mention, when this COVID-19 crisis appeared, we were much more prepared because everyone went remotely and we were working remotely already. So
we were already
the transition was quite fast, and they saw the added value even more now, because there was a lot of pressure during these times, and when they wanted to escalate teams, we were already prepared, and the team worked perfectly. So it was really good.
It was a really smooth transition because
exactly.
we were already doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Basically. It was just going to homework in exactly the same way as we did before.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning, and on our model, or the way we do Nearshore. I think our culture, let's say, plays very strongly in our favor, as in everyone is very committed and customer focused, I would say, and that really shows that we're as a not only as a vendor, as a partner, let's say, to our customers, we're really committed to their goals. And we end up having long-term relationships, let's say, with those customers. I would say we start from, sometimes from scratch, from assessments, and we grow with our customers in technology, in geographies even. So it really gives us that breadth through time. And I think of some examples, and I don't know, what was the first real Nearshore customer we had? Was it on life sciences? Not to mention anyone's name.
Clearly we've been working, so we work on different sectors. We don't focus on any. But yeah, we started our Nearshore approach with on the life sciences sector, for sure. and this was already some years ago, and as I said, and we've been working on this model for more than 10 years. I can't precise exactly the number of years, and that's why exactly that we were already prepared for the transition, and it was quite smooth, and so the the model has growth grown a lot. It grew a lot, but especially in these last 2 years, it exploded. The need to nearshore that we're seeing everywhere, basically. Everywhere, everybody wants to nearshore because the companies and all around the world, companies are more willing to accept remote work.
Exactly.
And so
I think that comes from a lot of digital transformation. I mean, the pandemic was here. It's always going to be a topic, and a lot of companies that weren't thinking about digital transformation now are, because they have to, because
They were
they really
obliged
need
to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
From
Yeah.
one day to another. Yeah.
yeah, so I think when we look at our own numbers on nearshore, we see that some years ago we grew pretty well. It was stable, but not too much.
Growth,
But
maybe.
then the model really started to stick in, and everybody started to use it a lot. The last couple of years, we increased it by like 50% or something like that. Right now, it represents around 60% of our business already, and clearly it is the goal is to increase the weight that it has by to be something like 90% of the business in the next couple of years probably, and this is exactly what we're seeing in the market.
Yeah. Exactly.
And and this expansion, this growth that we're seeing, and you already mentioned, I can't recall if, who the two of you mentioned it, but yeah, we have really long-term relationships with our customers. It's a partnership, and that's why the synchronicity is key.
Yeah.
And because we also did something some years ago, long before COVID hit us, and you guys probably remember that we started to shift our focus to not be just focused on development, but also focus on business understanding, and that allowed us to be more partners to our customers, to be sitting on their side, on their teams, and not some remote team that it's just implementing things.
Of course.
I guess that specialization and those different roles that we didn't have those years ago, they definitely brought us closer to our customers, and they also gave us the room to grow on let's say other parts of the project, of IT projects, even needs assessment before there is even a project, and we help the customer understand their needs,
Yeah.
and what kind of solution fits those needs best.
Yeah.
And just as an example, we started on a particular project, one of those long-term relationships we talked about with business analysis. I'm a bit keen to that. That's my background. But
You're partial.
Yeah, I'm partial to business analysis, but it's a fact that we started because there was a demand there, and we actually chose. We chose which profiles would fit there best. But at that point, it was just tacit knowledge. There wasn't real formal experience, and we grew there. And years passed, and now we have a dedicated area, a dedicated knowledge center for business analysis.
Which led then to other
exactly
initiatives and
spot on.
strategies.
Yeah, and that's really great. I think that's the kind of formal knowledge on those different areas, not only development, that we really bring to the table when we're with our customers. Yeah.
Yeah, and one other interesting thing that we've seen, and especially for a company like BI4ALL, we're not a really big company. We are right now around 300, 350 and consultants. But we are really specialized in what we do. We focus on this area, on this core area of data in general. And what we see, especially in our international expansion, and you guys can confirm or deny, is that usually, well, it's difficult because a lot of times the customers do not know us. But what we usually start our engagement and our partnership with our customers is by doing really small projects, so that they start to know us.
Yeah.
And then from there, we've seen that movie several times, that it starts to grow from there.
Yeah.
And then it's not an engagement that is just to deliver that specific small project, but then it's really a partnership that is continuously and integrated into their teams, and managed usually by us to deliver their program, and to define that program together with the customer.
Yeah, and I can give an example of the project that I am now coordinating. When we start locally in a contact that we have here in Portugal, and then after 6 months they saw the added value and the benefit that they brought with our solution, and then they decided to move to a more regional or global level. So that's when we expand, and just for the reference, when we first started we were like 2 consultants in the team, and now we are like more than 20. So as you can see, in 4 years the customer saw the added value, and they wanted to escalate their business and their let's say deliverables. So it was really a good exercise and a good improvement, not only for the customer but also for us. And it's important to mention that, as you said, we start small but we grow, and we don't grow only in the area that we are delivering. We have all other areas. Our knowledge center gives us a lot of possibilities to provide new insights to the customers that they see as an added value. So we go through different doors, in fact, and in the end we grow, and it's important to mention.
You're involved now in big topics. There are big technology shifts,
like cloud solutions.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I would say more. Well, on one hand, more focused on life sciences, and there I can say that it's on one hand. We train our people to make sure they're up to date always with what's more recent, technology-wise, framework-wise, and we also give back a lot, because we're talking about big companies where there's a lot happening, and especially on new frameworks. And I'm thinking of Scaled Agile as an example of a delivery method that's been really interesting to learn with the customer on their and on building their portfolio, and then bringing back to the company. So in a way, it's an ever evolving process that we have people dedicated to innovation. We also and they come back to us with that, but it's also the other way around. I guess that's a big thing on our culture. Yeah.
Okay, and how do you? This is just a question out of my head, but because you guys work on nearshore projects for some years on different customers, different sectors, different tool sets, different everything. Yeah. But how do you see the interaction with the customers, and how does the nearshore helps, especially in the travel, and because I know especially Francisco and the project that you are, that the interaction and traveling is quite frequent. with the example with you, Ricardo, is also quite frequent and getting even more. But how do you guys see that it helps?
I mean, from my side, it's definitely a real benefit because, I mean, we're talking about big projects at EMEA level with stakeholders in multiple geographies. So you really need to be aware of everyone's needs on one hand, and be effective in communication. And being on roundabout the same time zones is really important for that communication, because if someone needs to wait 12 hours each time they have something on their mind, that's going to be a huge impact for a project that has so many people. And traveling, yes, I think we have most of the people from the customer side traveling to Lisbon, because it's great here. I mean, it's great weather, no advertising needed there. But I think that having most of the team also located here means that people can travel to one place, they can be with us and focus on workshops. And you actually did some workshops here as well.
Yeah, I totally agree, but I have a little bit different opinion in that way, because one of the things that this COVID-19 period brought to us was that the customers saw that they don't really need to travel as often as they wanted before, and they can save money on that, because we can meet remotely and we can be productive as well. What I think is that the travels are important to meet face to face, to know the people, and to have
and
that
create bonds,
to create bonds, and to know, to put names on the face. That's it, and that's the important topic. So it's really important to meet time to time, like in a quarterly or a semesterly basis. But it's key. It's really key. It's important.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to talk about a bit on how we see, or what kind of challenges we see for the future that we face today, but also for the future. But maybe start for present ones, and we already mentioned some here. But do you want to talk a bit about that?
I can kick that off, and going back to the pandemics or post-pandemics, hopefully now. It opened up the market globally, and this comes. It's a bittersweet thing. On one hand, we have competition coming after our talent, let's say, from around the globe. And people can work from their homes without moving to a completely different location. So that's one thing. But actually, we're also on the same market. We're players on that market. So we can also reach out to other areas where we find the same kind of culture as we have, so that potentially we can be closer to other customers. So that's definitely one thing. I mean, we also have different sales cycles. I don't know, what's your experience there? And you've moved. You mentioned from local to EMEA. How do you see that going in terms of sales cycles?
EMEA and not only.
Not only, in Europe it's compared with the United States, it's quite different, because we have several countries with different culture, with different legislation. So it's really difficult to enter in a new country, okay? And that's why we have established some partnerships locally in some of the European countries also. But it's really difficult. But as soon as we reach there, it's much easier to stay there and to have confidence, because our work is valued, so we have reference. It's much more difficult. But in the end, as Lejinha said, when we are able to start a partnership, we keep it for a long time. So in the end, I would say the return of the investment, it's quite good, because we need to spend time and money to try to obtain new customers. But in the end, the added value, it's great. So we keep the relationship for a long time, and in the end, I think everyone benefits from it.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on, because we don't have infinite time. We could be talking here
hours,
for hours. But just talking a bit about the future, and there were some times that we already mentioned here the last couple of years that obviously the whole world, we had the pandemic and all that stuff. That with all the bad that it brought, it also brought good things.
Yeah.
And we've mentioned some already. One that is really key, especially it's present, but it's also future, is that it accelerated digital transformation by a lot. There are studies, I believe, that say that in 2 years the world advanced in terms of digital transformation around 10 years. What was planned before to take 10
faster,
years. And that what that brought was a really big focus on digital, because all the companies had to go digital in some way, and especially for us, and our business is data, that brought a huge amount of data to explore,
A lot more data points, definitely.
and the need, and on that conversation that we were having, that we became more partners and with a really good business understanding. We had companies even before the pandemic started, but then during the pandemic, and now the same thing, and we'll have more in the future, to ask us for data strategy assessments,
Yeah.
to help them define their data
Their way.
strategy, because they didn't really had a solid one before, and they understood that they needed to have. And with that, we also saw and are seeing that we get a lot of projects of go to clouds on different places. Everybody is going to the cloud in some form or the other, and that also brings some areas around the core that we have, that is data, on topics like infrastructure and architecture on the cloud. That is key to be done right from the beginning.
Exactly.
And cybersecurity, for example, that is key, and we have seen around the world a lot of breaches and stuff that.
And we also need to be more compliant.
Exactly. To
And
be
with
able
our
to move
RPA
fast.
also, with the robust solutions that we can
Exactly,
bring to the
RPA
test.
is getting a big focus, because I guess, in my opinion, there's so much data and so many things going digital. The companies need to automate more and need to be able to process the data and get some sense out of the data that they are
Yeah,
producing,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
I think what we're also seeing from this, and from this go to cloud movement, is that companies take the opportunity to refactor what they have and to modernize even the way they have their systems implemented. So we're seeing with that go to cloud movement also a lot more. Well, it's self-service, but at the data product level.
Yeah.
So productionizing, if you will, the data you have to other areas of your company, meaning you have the source of truth that is still the core of a data warehouse, but the way you deliver it, it has significantly improved, also leading to shorter project times. As in, you deliver the data, your inside the customer, your customer area will get that data sooner and do with that what they want. So there's a lot more there, and coming from that movement as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, I would suggest, as we don't have too much
Yeah.
time left,
We are
that we move
time.
and try to answer as many questions as possible from the ones that we got. I would pick, for example, the one that says, why don't you have a hybrid model where customer-facing activities are onshore and development is performed offshore? So a combination of here two models. Do you, any of you want to take that one?
Yeah, I think I can take that one. I mean, we touched on the topic of culture, and I think we have with our people a commitment to the customer and a commitment to quality that we really want to keep very close. And the fact that we train the people in our projects, that give and take between delivery and knowledge areas. I think that's something we want to keep. So this goes back to a lot of topics actually. The communication, the synchronicity we need with customers, autonomy and proactivity and critical thinking. We want that not only with the people that are closer to the customer. We want the developers to be able to ask why something is being implemented. I guess that's a key area for us, because that also enables the customer to make the best decisions, informed ones about what they're doing. So I think what we definitely should keep to the model we have, the nearshore model we have.
Yeah. That makes sense. And we mentioned to be close, to have that close communication and proximity and partnership with the customer is really key, and that made a difference several times that we've seen.
All times, in fact.
I would then pick up another one, like in. Sorry.
Do you want me to read something?
In long-term projects,
where people are located through multiple years, how do you ensure they keep up to date with the latest trends on technology and best practices?
Okay. Yeah, I can take that one if that's all right. That links actually a bit with the one that something that you were mentioning, Francisco. The knowledge of the business understanding of what that customer does, and the understanding of all the systems, all the business rules, all the persons and the stakeholders on that customer is really key and difficult to train people, because it takes time. When we've seen that it takes time. Obviously, we need to do that every once in a while, but that is key. But every once in a while, customers want either if it is by our recommendation or by
their needs,
by their needs, they want to shift and they want to change the platform that they are working for some reason, and that obviously and that's the question, I guess. It's because of that brings the issue that persons that are in that customer do not have the knowledge of that specific tool that the platform will be implemented in. Usually, what the approach that we follow is using the knowledge area that we have, that is it works with the different delivery sectors that we have. That knowledge area trains people that are already on that customer, so that we don't lose the customer specific and sector specific knowledge that we already have on that team, and they train that people that team on the new tools, because it's much easier to train on new tools than it is to train on business understanding and business knowledge and the relationships with the
Absolutely.
And I can tell you in my project that we are doing now in terms of go to cloud, we have also added not only this training part, but also we extend the team with the cloud architect specifically for the project, so to support the move.
They
can guide us, and then the path will be much easier. But the team is it's the same team that we had before, but with an expert that help us achieving that.
And you keep the core knowledge in the team.
Exactly.
So
in the end,
knowledge doesn't go away by switching people to someone else. Yeah,
exactly.
I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Okay. I think we have time for one more.
One last one.
Ricardo, do you want to pick one?
Yeah, I can pick the last one. If there is a risk to focus 100% in international market and lose the local market. So in fact, I'm not only helping international customers, I also have local customers.
Yeah, exactly.
Small ones, but in fact I do have 2 other customers. And I think it's important to mention that the knowledge that we obtain in these local customers are really key to leverage this knowledge then when we implement to the international customers. So in Portugal, as you know, we are like in the top of the wave every time. So the customers are smaller, but they want to innovate. So we obtain a lot of knowledge, and then we can apply in the international business. That's one of the things. Another thing that I think it's important to mention is. So we cannot only focus in one area. So we need to have sustainability. So it's important also to have multiple all the eggs in the same basket, of course. Of course, we even in the end. So we need to have all this experience in several sectors and in several delivery models, as I mentioned before, because there are benefits in both. So it's important to say that we should keep, and we'll keep it for sure.
Sure, yeah. Okay, I would suggest, I see that we have 2 more questions. I would suggest, because we are past the hour, that we reply to those then offline.
Yeah.
If that's okay.
Yeah.
They're good questions, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll ask for your help, and then we'll reply to the questions, and if even there are others afterwards, we can reply. And I wanted to thank both of you for being here. Thanks for everybody that listened or that will listen in when the podcast. And before closing, I want to mention also that we'll have the next episode will be on artificial intelligence on
the 20th.
20th of May, exactly. Follow us and subscribe to continue to hear these BI4ALL talks. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye.